Hey, this is Ask Pastor Bob, and it is the 10th of February. So we're going to wait to see who all logs on and start a conversation. Just hanging out in the kitchen today, a little better lighting, and glad to see one viewer's on. And we're going to talk about serving, we're going to talk about Valentine's Day, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. So weigh in. What are we're talking about? We're going to look at Romans 12, 1 through 8, and talk about serving. Our church is doing enough. And then we're also going to talk about Valentine's Day. But if you have a question, feel free to post it right up here, and the comments will appear on my thread. And it looks like Val joined. Hi, Val. Hope the Boundaries book is going well for you. Let's see who else is joining us. We're only a minute into the live feed, so we're going to give it a couple moments to let people log in and be a part of this. Rick Hope joined, Matt Hill joined. Good to have you guys with us. We're going to talk about serving and Valentine's Day and any questions you might have. Feel free to post, start a conversation on the thread here. I'll follow along and we'll just kind of chat for a half hour. And any questions you want to ask a pastor, sometimes, like we have 7 viewers right now, sometimes people will have questions that they would love to ask their pastor, but for some reason they feel like they can't. And so I may not be your pastor, but you certainly can feel free to ask a question regarding God, church, life, Captain America, Civil War, whatever you want to ask a question on, that's great. One of the things I'm going to do this Sunday is I'm going to use the text of Romans 12, 1 through 8, where the Apostle Paul says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God." I didn't have that memorized. I was looking down on my iPhone here. Kayla joined. Hello, Kayla. Glad you're a part of it. But I thought, with the Apostle Paul saying, "Therefore I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer yourself a living sacrifice." What does that mean? I think we know the words and what that means, and we know Keith Green's song, to obey is better than sacrifice, all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to diving in as we talk about 2 new ministries we'll be launching at Radiant Fellowship. We're going to talk about that this Sunday. Here in the community, I'm a big advocate of missions, but I'm also a bigger advocate of serving your immediate community. Both are good. I just tend to like to keep it local a little more. But you guys are quiet today. We have quite a few viewers, but you guys are quiet. Feel free to weigh in with a question, post, thought. What are you doing for Valentine's Day? We'll talk about that too in a little bit, give you something to think about. Hello, Michelle. Glad you could join us. And so here's a question for you then. I'll get this going. If you don't attend Radiant Fellowship, that's the church I pastor up here in Wapaka. Again, if you see the light right above my head, that is not some kind of holy aura. Far from it, it's the reflection of our kitchen light. I'm actually in the kitchen today because I need to do a couple tweaks in my office that would brighten things up a little bit. And I'm using a very fancy iPad stand, and I will post a picture of what it looks like. So, but back to the question. And again, weigh in with comments or whatever. What ministry at your church, what outreach does your church do that you really can get behind, that you're really involved with? Or what ministry, what outreach do you wish your church would do that you could really get behind? Comment there on the thread here, and we'll talk about it for a few moments here. Again, we only have a half hour. Facebook Live does that after a half hour. They kick you off, and that's okay because I think after a half hour for anything, it can get boring, including my messages. So it's actually been a great thing on Sunday mornings that after a half hour just says, hey, you're done. And I'm done. Sometimes I could go a little longer, but you know. Okay. 12 viewers. All right, welcome everybody. This is only our second Ask Pastor Bob session, so if you feel like you've come in and you're like, what's going on? It's very raw, very real, but we're talking about outreach. We're talking about what is it that you like that your church is doing as far as serving. I think if a church just meets to meet, there is value in that. It's very necessary, but at the same time, it needs to be serving as well. So whether that's to the body, the immediate church, or outside of it, what is it that you really enjoy that your church is doing, that you're getting behind? Or the question is, what do you wish your church was doing to serve, either to the immediate church body or outside of the church that you could get behind? Just feel free to post your thoughts there. Then we'll switch gears about 15 minutes into this and talk about whatever else. So you can post questions though if you want to detract or derail from what the current topic is. That is okay, and we're happy to chat. One of the things I love doing, I'll just yap until we get questions here. One of the things I love doing at our church, and people I think can tell when I'm excited about it, I often say call me butter because I'm on a roll, is talking about serving. Talking about benevolence ministries, benevolence meaning ways we can just help people out. Our church is small. Our building is small. The church is, as far as the congregants, is well within the parameters of the average size church in the U.S. However, the building is small, and therefore we don't have room for a lot of donations, a lot of on-board things. We have a few food items, but one of the things we've started is called a Joy Box. And in the lobby of the church, when you walk in, depending on what denomination you're from, I was brought up with it being called the narthex. I mean, this just sounds like somebody from the Never-Ending Story. So the lobby, we have what's called a Joy Box. And what I encourage the church to do is when you're at Pick and Save or Piggly Wiggly, if you're not from our area, you probably have no idea what a Piggly Wiggly is. But if you're at the local grocery store, if you're at the gas station or restaurant, even the mall, pick up a gift card, 10, 15, 20 bucks. I've had people drop $100 gift cards in. And we have a lockbox in our lobby, and that's called a Joy Box. And then that way, if somebody within the church body is struggling with something, struggling with a need, we're able to simply go into the Joy Box and give them a gift card to the gas station, to a grocery store, to a mall, these sort of things. And, again, I get so jazzed when we can talk about serving. And this Sunday, we're actually going to be talking about a new ministry we're going to be doing in our community that I'm pretty excited about. It's for a thing that I used to be on the board for, and looking forward to some good results. And I think it's just exciting for people to do something besides the mundaneness of life each day. Alan Aguirre, we are loving people into a right relationship with Jesus where there's only 8% evangelical Christianity in the entire state. And Alan's in Utah, and he says it's more than challenging to say the least. Loving in practical ways, common sense stuff. I agree. I told the church, our church on Sunday, that I think it's crazy to jump from building campaign to building campaign. And, I get it, because sometimes when a church doesn't have any outreach focused ideas, or all they do is send money to missions, then they got to celebrate something. And so they go from building campaign to building campaign. And I guess those are physical goals. And I guess if you got to do a building campaign and you meet the goal, it's fun and it's exciting. Yay us, we added $1.5 million wing. But those are physical goals, and statistically, I've read pastors burn out during physical goals of building plans, and even 2 or 3 years after it's done, they resign. And there are the exceptions, but I like to keep things more of a ministry goal because those never end, and they don't cost money. It's just people stepping up and helping. And like I said, dropping gift cards into what we call a joy box. Somebody calls saying, hey, we're hard up for groceries this week. Can you help out? Yeah, let me go in the joy box and pull out a gift card to the local grocery store. Or, here's the other thing. Even I get young couples that say, we haven't had a date night in a long time because money's going towards diapers, food, everything. I enjoy when I'm able to give them a gift card to the local theater. Just, hey, that's serving, and saying, we'll watch your baby, we'll take care of your kid. You guys go to the theater and have a good time. So, yeah, I think loving in practical ways is common sense stuff. The Apostle Paul, and Alan, you'd be one to correct me if I'm wrong on this. Romans 12:1-8 says, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. I tend to view that as, what? We have to serve. This is what we do. This is what Christians do. It was personified in Jesus being here in his earthly ministry, serving, saying that I didn't come to serve, but to be served. I didn't come to be served, but to serve. I should clarify that. Sometimes churches twist that the other way. But yeah, I think it's just something that we need to do. Sebastian, welcome. My cousin. I haven't seen you in years, and I'm glad that you're on board here, buddy. Kristen, welcome. My other cousin. And I've got some old friends on here from my youth group days. Juliana Peplinski, and even like Michelle, she's from my high school days. So glad you guys are aboard. What is your church doing? What's kind of crazy is I'm asking, what is your church doing that you're getting behind, that you're excited about, and nobody's weighing in? I'm not sure if that's a good thing, or if you're just feeling very introverted today, or your church isn't doing anything. If that's the case, that's kind of sad. I'll throw a comment out at you that I made on Sunday just to get the pot stirring a little bit. I said, I think it's what was the wording I used? I think it's a dirty shame. I think it's horrible, bad, whatever word I used, when churches celebrate massive savings accounts. I've grown up in the church world. I'm 41, 42 next in 2 months, and been on staff at churches where they celebrate, $50,000, $100,000 in savings. And I'm, as I get older and I'm a pastor longer, I find that to be very disturbing. Meanwhile, people in struggling with home foreclosures and groceries and raising kids and unexpected job layoffs are struggling within these churches, and here churches are boasting about huge savings accounts. So again, another way we can serve. Doug, thank you for joining us, man. I forget what your hours are at the Foundry, but hopefully I didn't wake you up by going live and dinging your phone. Again, so Marlene is on. I didn't say anything about Marlene, but Marlene is one of our, between Richfield and Spencer Lake, she has her and her husband come up. But again, what is your church doing to make a difference, to serve, whether inside the church or outside of the church, and to let people know you're there. I remember at one church conference when I used to go to those, the pastor said, a question we should be asking ourselves as a church is, and I don't know if I should say the pastor's name, but I will. This is back in 2006. It was Rob Bell, and he asked the question: if your church's doors closed today, would anybody protest? I think it's a valid question. No matter what you believe about the guy, I think that's a valid question to ask in any church. If the doors of your church closed today, would anybody notice? Would anybody protest? Oh, sorry you're homesick today, Marlene. Hope you're on the mend here, and I think you need a trip to Wapaka. That would cure all of your ailments. But yeah, good question. I mean, it's something you can even throw around in your own church. If we close the doors today, I don't care how big you are. Churches of hundreds or thousands, if they're not reaching out to the community or making a difference or serving, what are you doing? And so if your church's doors closed today, would anybody notice? Would anybody protest? Kristen said, it is sad and scary if churches are doing nothing. what you do in your small church can blow away these mega churches. The Joy Box. Now, why wouldn't every church have one of these? What an amazing idea. Some are getting lost in their 7 day a week mega churches and are losing their own flock. And I guess, and I don't say bring up the Joy Box boastfully or anything. It's just something that we do. And it's always been my thing to serve. We had a family at our church, a mom whose husband took his own life years ago, and she's raising a bunch of daughters, and Cap Services wouldn't put a roof on their home. And so this was probably going back 2010. And I met with the board and I said, hey, that outreach we were planning on doing to the community, let's just ditch that and take that $1,000 to probably $1,200 and put a new roof on this lady's house, because I think that's the right thing. And even and so we did. We had guys and ladies rally around. We ordered the dumpster. We got the roof torn off, new roof on, and all is well. And a couple years later, we were able to go back to her house and repair the drywall that fell out of her living area because of a faulty roof. And then this last year, beginning of 2015, we have a board member, single lady. Yes, we have a lady on our board. She has just a basic ranch style house and doing okay and everything, but needed a new roof and straightforward ranch style home, no major fancy cuts or anything. And I said, well, don't pay anybody to do that. I said, we have enough guys and women in our church that know how to roof a house, and it was only one layer, so we tore it off. And I said, you buy the supplies, we'll supply the crew, and we get up there. And here's the sad thing, and I'm not going to say where this was from because it may hit close to home. I spoke with one person who has a friend that needed help moving over the winter time, okay, moving some furniture. And this person called their local church, of which they were a part of, and asked for help in moving. The church's response was, sorry, we cannot help because it's an insurance liability when we do this sort of thing. I will share in your ira over that statement and that comment, and it just blew my mind, and I don't know. It reminds me, as people are waiting for other people to just ask questions, say whatever. I remember another young lady in our church, double mastectomy, breast cancer, and just bought a new car, and really doing well for herself until this major hurdle. And, I just sent a letter out to the church saying, hey, this is what's going on. We have an obligation as a church to help this lady out. She's in her mid-20s. And so with a favorable response, we ended up taking over her car payments for a whole year so that she could get back on her feet again and not have to worry about her car being repossessed. So these are just cool things. I remember my mom, she goes, oh, Bobby. That when she gets serious, she always says, oh, Bobby. She said, maybe in a smaller church you could do that, but what if in a larger church, a lot of people are asking that. I'm like, what's the problem here? This is what a church does. This is what a church would do. And so going back to your question, Chris, and as to why more churches don't do this, here's what I've run into regarding Joy Box. Are you ready for this one? People and churches don't always enjoy the Joy Box, or they don't give the Joy Box, because if they give a gift card in a wood box and nobody knows, number one, nobody knows, but the other reason is they don't receive a tax write-off. That's the society we live in today. So it's sad, but true. In the words of the great James Hatfield, it's sad but true. My mother-in-law joined in. Anyways, seems like we're little hush-hush on the topic of what your church is doing to serve its immediate body or the community, or what would you like your church to do to serve your immediate church body or community. So let's shift gears a little bit here, and we can always go back to that if you have a thought or question or anything on that. But Valentine's Day is coming up, and it's this Sunday. We're actually we're doing a potluck after church on this Sunday, and that's standard for every month. The second Sunday of every month, we do communion together as a church, and then after church, we do what's called a communion potluck. And everybody brings a dish. The church supplies the main meal. I have my board member Josh Skog. He's going to be grilling brats out in our parking lot in these cold temperatures, and that'll be the main dish. And then everybody brings something. We just have lunch together, and so that'll be Valentine's Day lunch. But what are you doing with your spouse on Valentine's Day? Are you doing anything fancy? But and then any thoughts on what your church is doing on Valentine's Day? Feel free to weigh in. And we have currently 9 viewers, and so actually probably a lot more, but these are the ones that have clicked in. Or any questions? Let's just open the forum here. Any questions you have? You want to ask a pastor? I am a pastor. Let me see if I can pull out my official card here. Some of you that are newer, you're like, he's a pastor? There it is. Just got it. Assemblies of God licensed. Brother George Wood signed it. So valid until December 31st, 2016, at which time I renew. And I got to renew every year. My wife is a nurse, and she has to only renew every other year. And what I paid out in renewal fees this year, my wife could be renewed for, I think we figured out to be either 10 or 20 years. But anyways, Matt Hill, again, another guy that makes me feel old. He was in my kids' church back in Milwaukee. Matt says, through serving in the community, there's an opportunity to be near and love on the lost. That might be their only encounter with Jesus' love. And I agree. That's why we serve. One of the big things in Wapaka is that when a nonprofit serves somebody, if it's valued at $250 or more, you should notify the newspaper, and then they come out and take a picture and look at us. And that's just not what Jesus was all about, and that's not what the church is all about. And so, yeah, I mean, as you said it, Matt, you encapsulated that might be their only encounter with Jesus' love, is giving out groceries or respite care for somebody with raising a special needs child, or groceries, whatever way we can serve. Home repair, that's and going back to the home repair story, how we did that, the roof for these 2 ladies over a couple different years. Would a church be willing to do that over with somebody they don't know from down the street? I can sense and understand the hesitancy there, because you tend to run into liability issues. What will this person do to us if we accidentally take the gutter off, or if we do this, or if somebody falls off their roof? So use discernment on that. I wouldn't say don't do it, but use discernment on that. But somebody from the church, I mean, game on, help them out. Alan, we don't really do anything for February 14th. We do have regular date nights, though. You know what? That's awesome. Some people, they need guidelines in their life, and so some guys, they need these Hallmark holidays to say, oh, February 14th, Valentine's Day, I gotta go out. Hey, at least they're going out. But you're like me, Alan, and we need to double date. Your wife and I, and Tracy and I. And it's a little hard to do when you're in Utah, but thanks to my mother-in-law who's watching. Bill Gam joined. Hey, Bill. But yeah, we go out on date nights all the time. And thanks to my mother-in-law, thanks to some great teens at our church, and that we can hire to babysit and watch them. Our next date night hopefully is this Sunday night. And I've talked Tracy into going to see Hail Caesar with me, the new Coen Brothers movie. But yeah, we do have regular date nights, though, and like you, Alan, and it's again, I think it serves as a guideline, and for hubbies that are not quite so with it to do that. Alan, he said, gotta do it, Zoolander 2. I'm going to confess to you, I haven't seen Zoolander 1, so I feel a little left out. I can't get my mind around. I like the actors and stuff, but I just can't get my mind around it. So, Julie, I just have the utmost respect for you, Pastor Rob. You're awesome. God bless you and your growing family. Thanks, Julie. And I enjoy seeing all that you're doing too, and raising your kid, and you're doing great down there. So, Alan, oh man, So is that a yes? I should go see Zoolander 1 and then Zoolander 2? I mean, what am I missing here? I can't. And then Zoolander 2, for somebody who hasn't seen Zoolander 1, to see the previews for Zoolander 2 with it having Justin Bieber in it, I can't get my mind around that. No comment. I've actually stunned the great Alan Aguirre with having no comment. I feel like I should do a screenshot of this or something so that I can have that in a recording here. Valentine's Day, I don't know. I usually see husbands being more like, oh, it's just another day. I like to give flowers on the off days. And if you ask the wife, they often will say, that doesn't even happen on the off days. So, but yeah, I think it's cool. And for the ladies, I've discovered they're the ones that say they don't need to have anything on the Hallmark holidays. Usually are the ones that have been hurt in a relationship or aren't seeing anybody currently. But given a bouquet of flowers from a random guy or from their significant other, random guy if they're not seeing anybody, but significant other if they are, they melt and they love it, and that's good. Sue Wetland, thanks for joining us, Sue. It's we got about 4 minutes here. Hope you're having fun with grandma duty. I think that's what you're doing right now. Val Smith, highly looking forward to the church Valentine's night on Saturday. Yes. I don't know if it's an outreach or not, but we're going out with a church group. I opened it up for married and dating couples to a restaurant in Appleton called Good Company. It's something like an old granary building right on the railroad tracks. And 10 couples signed up, so there's going to be 20 of us going out for dinner. And it's not double dating, it's not triple dating, it's whatever 20 would be, 20 dating. And just a fun time to get out and enjoy some. It's a church event, so fellowship with our fellow brethren and sisters. But Alan, yes, I have to be sensitive to what I endorse publicly. Nice. Any other questions? We got about less than 3 minutes before my cousin Elliot actually, I married in, so Tracy's cousin Elliot and my cousin too. Ellie, you still working at Panda Express? I got to get over there for a genuine, authentic Chinese cuisine. Marlene, our Valentine's tradition is taking Red Rooster ice cream drinks over to my mom's house. Even though this is a small thing, I found out that this is something that my mom truly looks forward to. You can't argue with tradition, you just can't. I have my tradition every birthday and every birthday for my mom and dad. If it's not on the day of, then it's the day before or after. I drive down to Milwaukee with my wife and kids, and if it's easy, and we go out for dinner, out for lunch, take them out. So our parents love that stuff, and I hope as my kids get older and I get older, they would do the same thing. So awesome tradition, Marlene. Elliot, yeah, I actually start working at 10:30. So you're sitting in the parking lot right now, or are you in Panda Express? So we got about a minute 30. Anybody else with last comments? We do this every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Again, not a huge format, but just something to talk about. Big takeaway is outreach. What are you doing? What is your church doing? What would you like to see your church do? And make it happen. Sometimes it takes you to say, I want to start this ministry. If you want to do it within the church, talk to your pastor, and hopefully they say yes. It's something that they ought to look into. Bill Gam, have a great day, Bob. Chinese food is awesome. Yes, and Bill, I haven't seen many bass pictures yet, so get out there and get some bass fishing done if you have a lake that's not frozen. All right, well, the reason why my eyes are going back and forth is because the camera's over here and the comments are over here, so that's why. But hey, thanks for joining me for another Ask Pastor Bob. And Alan, I wish I had a church well besides our community. Nice. Come on down here anytime. But all right, well, you guys have a great day, and I'll post this. And Marlene said I should mention those drinks are non-alcoholic. Yes, we are an Assemblies of God people, so non-alcoholic, of course. All right. See you, Alan. See you, everybody. Have a great day.